Bhairava Kalike Namostute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Nama. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Jai Mahadeva. So good morning, and we are back on yet another episode, yet another video. So today we are talking about generally why physical love, physical lust, need for physical gratification, and how that specific part of a sadhaka's journey needs to be conquered and overcome before they can step into the spiritual part of it, and how Mahadeva himself, the Mahaguru, the Guru to the entire Devaloka, has himself on multiple occasions given the answer that physicality should be separated from love. The physical aspect, as long as you're physically bound to love, as long as you're physically expressive towards love, as long as you're physically bound to the feelings that you get that is projected by lust or karma, it will always be a hurdle to your spiritual upliftment. At the same time, it does not mean that as long as you're in the human body, you need to satisfy all your desires and needs and all that. There is nothing wrong with it. That is why the human body is given to you. However, if you were to rise spiritually higher, you will have to separate the physical pressure and the spiritual pleasure of it. So this is one part, and the second part is something that I wanted to address on why Shakti Sadhana is extremely important for anybody in the path of Bhairava, especially men. No matter how much you call yourself the mard ko dard nahi hota and all this, please understand that you will have to come back in a different life to embody Shakti. If you continuously think that to be the greatest man of all time is to embody manliness only, I've got some counter logic to that, so probably you'll have to listen to the second part of the video too. So we start off with Ma Parvati's intense tapasya in the middle of a rainy forest full of animals, insects, snakes crawling around. This young girl goes and sits over there and gets into intense tapasya. She refuses to eat any nourishment, survives on a single leaf in the middle of the forest when there is nobody there. Her tapasya is so intense that Mahadeva deeply in his samadhi begins to stir, and he begins to realize that there is something happening, that some girl somewhere is so intensely powerful in her tapasya. And what is this? So he mentally sends his Sapta Rishis to go and have a quiz, a questioning session with her, so that they will successfully divert her, and that was their goal. In the story, there is a very beautiful hint that Mahadeva, esoteric meaning that he has placed upon something that you need to realize as you go higher in spirituality. So when the Saptarishis land there and they start questioning Ma Parvati on what are you doing there in the middle of the forest, a young girl like you should be spending your life in glory, happiness, be dancing in the mountains with your friends, you should be happily roaming around in the streets, what are you doing here? At that moment, she says, with very shyly, she says that you might laugh, but I am sitting here in order to attain Mahadeva as my divine consort. That is why I am sitting here in this tapasya in the middle of this forest. So they are like, okay, we understand that, but there is nothing to laugh about. But how can a young girl like you even think of Mahadeva as a consort? How would you want to be one with Mahadeva? You should not marry somebody like Mahavishnu. Should you not, with such great placement of charts that you have, such great astronomical birth that you have, you should not be looking at Mahadeva, who resides in the greatest smashana of the Devaloka itself, and that Devas die, and that ashes he has smeared on himself. Deva's dead ashes he smeared on himself. So many lokas have ended, so many kalpas have ended across the cosmos, that not only has smeared as ash. There is absolutely not a single glitter in that person. He's full of just black dust. And he's just sitting there unmoving. He will not even look at you. And what sort of a life do you seek from an energy like that? He's so non-reactive. You cannot even open his eyes. Shouldn't you go after Mahavishnu, who's full of life, prana, the whole Devaloka goes after her. The women and men, everybody in the Mrityu Loka, all the Lokas, Asuras also fall in love with what a handsome being Mahavishnu is. What a Rajo Guna he has. Shouldn't you go there? So she says, I have no intentions for a physical marriage. It is not about physically marrying to attain Mahavishnu and his beauty, his grandeur. I'm not interested in something like that. What I need is to become part of Shiva. So here we need to actually understand that Mahadeva and Ma Parvati are not physically one with each other. They are not physically trying to marry each other. They are trying to spiritually become a single being. They're trying to become a single soul, a single piece of soul. So what Ma Parvati wants is to dissolve into Mahadeva and become his Shakti. That is what she says. So here, this should give you a lot of hints about Tantra itself. It is not about the divine union that takes place at the physical body itself. You need to have the physical pleasures of the lust and kama and all that, but you need to conquer it and come to a state where you are no longer interested into it. You need to come to a state where you just want spiritual oneness with Mahadeva. So that is how even Shakti looks at Mahadeva. She meditates on him not to attain anything at all other than Mahadeva himself. So, attainment of Mahadeva or walking into the path of Mahadeva, one must always remember that anything physical, because Ma Parvati very clearly gives that message, that anything physically that you want to attain, with that goal, don't walk to Mahadeva. So, very beautiful message even there. And upon realizing of this specific event has taken place and the message has already gone to Mahadeva, but he still refuses to get out of his samadhi, and Ma Parvati continues in the tapasya. That is when in order to multiple times to wake Mahadeva out of his samadhi, these asuras pop up all over, and Devaloka pressurizes him and somehow gets him to project and give out that energy mass that he is through Shakti, so that he can create and destroy. So for the creation of Kanda Bhairava, Murugar, when the incident with Tarakasur takes place and Mahadeva has to now be forcefully removed from his samadhi so that he can have that at the physical plane itself, have a marriage with Ma Parvati, or when those two energies collide, and we need to then bring out that tattva, that is Kartikeya, the Mahasenadipati of Devaloka itself. When we are going into that direction, then Kamadeva is tasked with waking Mahadeva from his samadhi. So what does he do? He goes in front of Mahadeva, shoots all these arrows, extreme kama enters the air, every mountains are falling in love with each other, clouds are falling in love with each other, birds are falling in love with each other, trees are having all sorts of relationship with each other, every leaf is in love with each other, but Mahadeva is not moving. He gets so angered at this point that Kamadeva then shoots an arrow directly at Mahadeva, and he mildly steers. He has still not been overcome by that arrow. He just merely decides to wake up and witness what is happening. He opens his eyes, he sees Kamadeva and his attempt to disturb him. He has no interest in partaking in that moment of outburst of Kama within the air. He has no interest. What he does is open his third eye and completely burns Kamadeva to ashes. So this part of the historical text is known. But there is an esoteric meaning in this. Upon Maharathi, the divine consort of Kamadeva, when she gets agonized seeing that her husband has been reduced to ashes, this ashes also will be smeared on Mahadeva only, because to him ultimately everything is merely ash, right? So upon seeing her agony, Mahadeva takes pity and then gives Kamadeva a spiritual body. He says that he will no longer have a physical body because he will now have a spiritual body. So what is the meaning in this? The meaning here is that Kamadeva, who has already created everything out of Kama, his duty was to, because everything is created out of desire, be it a small car that you purchase or the technological advancements, it's all by desires. It's not just lust. Kama is not just lust, it's also desire. He gives a beautiful message at this point. Mahadeva tells him that you no longer have a physical body, which means you have created everything at your physical level and it is done. But now you have a spiritual body, so you will be everywhere. But the truest embodiment, he at this moment gives moksha to Kamadeva itself, saying that be non-physical, be present everywhere, be present to the end of the Kali Yuga, all the Kalpa, everywhere, across the cosmos. However, you will never have a physical body. So here, Mahadeva elevates that his idea, Mahadeva's idea, Shiva's idea of the right way to appropriate karma itself is spiritual. That is the message here, which we tend to merely read it, we tend to merely read it as a story. We think that Kamadeva got burnt, so Mahadeva is so full of his tapasya to such an extent that he simply burns off Kamadeva. That alone is not the answer. The answer is also that he gave the spiritual life back to Kama, and he said, you don't be physical, you be spiritual. So what does that mean? It is physical lust or physical bodily desires versus spiritual one. Mahadeva says it is okay to have spiritual lust, spiritual pleasures. However, physical needs to be attained and conquered. That message is there in this incident. So this is where you have to get into the concept of the masculinity and femininity within the human body itself. Like we spoke in the previous videos, where women on the 11th day of their cycle, they embody the highest levels of testosterone, and that is when they should invoke Bhairava within. Why? Because Bhairava is very much within, Shiva Tattva is very much within all of us. That video needs to be watched, Bhairava Sadhana for women, for you to make sense of this, because this is the Vajra. Okay? Anyone who holds this in the Devaloka will rule the Devaloka. What it essentially means and talks about is the perfect balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine within a single being. So even when Shiva, he is separated from his Shakti, he is only half. And that is how he prefers to be. He will simply be like the masculine part alone in deep meditation. But when Shakti comes, he moves. So the Vajra that is held by Bhairava in his hand, is, the answer is, you need to embody the divine masculinity and the femininity within you in a single body in perfect balance. Perfect balance, absolute balance. Now, many tantrics tend to think of this as having a lot of physical relationship left and right. That is what it is. Yes, because you have not conquered the will, you have not conquered the desire for physical relationships, physically satisfying those desires, you have to get rid of, because body is around, you still are physically attracted to be other beings, you have to finish it off, and there is nothing wrong in it. Finish it off, all the desires, you finish it off. However, like Parvati said, it is not about physically Mahavishnu is more beautiful, handsome, full of grandeur, gold, jewels, and like entire Devaloka is after him. But she says that it is not about the physical looks or physical being that I am looking at. I am looking at to be one with Mahadeva. I want to be his complete state. Parvati said to Shiva, I want to be this, the perfect balance. So, if Mahadeva is your masculine, and if you need to be the perfectly balanced Shakti part of him, your tapasya will have to be for many thousand years. A beautiful message is there in it. So, you need to conquer your physical aspect before you can balance your masculinity and femininity within you. Now, this is the Vajra, and this is anyone who holds the Vajra, or basically who is able to perfectly balance the divine masculinity and femininity within a single being. That is the most realized state of a sadhaka, and that is when you become Siddha. You have all the Siddhis. After that, even the Devaloka will fear you, because you have attained that state. You have perfectly balanced. That is why Krodha Bhairava, or Bhairava itself, is always depicted with the Vajra. And also, see Kanda Bhairava at the foot of Ma, on his left hand, you see a hand like this, there he holds the Vajra like this. Perfect balance between the divine feminine, divine masculine, Devic qualities, Asuric qualities, everything within one. Balanced. Such a person is nothing less than a God himself. He is a Deva himself. So, beautifully message is given. When Kamadeva is destroyed and placed as a spiritual being, say if Mahadeva gives him a lesson that you walk around doing all these physical pleasures you give her all over the world, let me give you moksha and give you the final realization that actual pleasure is spiritual pleasure. spiritually being one with the man and the woman inside you itself. And then he proceeds to be one with Parvati itself. He also becomes spiritually one with Parvati. Not because having physical relationship is bad or we are ashamed of anything. No. It is the message there. That is why he has burnt Kamadeva and made him spiritual. He is only a spirit now. Unseen. He is everywhere. He made him more powerful. Extremely powerful, and gave him moksha only from physical body. Wherein Mahadeva's idea of what is the right way of Kama should be spiritual. And for that, just like Kamadeva himself spreading Kama all over the world, all over the lokas, you also will have to attain the highest of your physical being at a state where you are no longer interested in physical pleasures. That is when you can truly walk towards this. Now, what is this? This message. Why do you want to attain this state? To truly win in life, to attain your most grandest state. That message is very much there in Sri Krishna. Now we are coming to the second part of why men need Shakti. Here we summon the greatest Guru who had walked on the Mrityu-loka like you and me, none other than Sri Krishna, and his greatest disciple, his greatest Shishya. Okay, Sri Krishna is the Guru of Arjuna. People tend to think he is the Ishta, he is the Guru, and Arjuna's Ishta is Mahadeva. So, 12 years of exile that the Pandavas went through. In that, the 12 years is one cycle of Brihaspati, the solar cycle itself. So that is why 12 years of sadhana gives you the eligibility to be a guru in the path, and all this is said. That 12 years is the most transformational cycle of the solar sun. So anybody who is in that path for 12 years will attain the status of the guru. However, Yudhishthira was also in exile, so was Bhima, so was Nakula, so was Sahadeva. Arjuna also was in exile. However, Arjuna's story has a very important answer to how one lives in Kali Yuga. Again, I repeat what I have said across my videos, that Sri Krishna's messages are not for the Dwapar Yuga, it is for Kali Yuga. So Sri Krishna gives you a very beautiful message on how to be a very successful, powerful man in Kali Yuga. And the answer is Arjuna. Sri Rama, the greatest archer, Arjuna, the greatest archer. Sri Rama in Treta, he embodied Shiva Tattva itself. He was the 8th Rudra. Sri Rama was the 8th Rudra. Okay, so he embodied Shiva Tattva in totality. He had complete Shiva Tattva within. Okay, so which is what many people tend to project as Mahadeva was meditating on Sri Rama. It's not meditating on Sri Rama. He is Rudra. Complete embodiment of Shiva Tattva. Complete that sun, the presence of sun will be very high in anybody who embodies the Shiva Tattva. So, Surya Vamshi, Sri Rama was Shiva Tattva. But as and when the pollution and the yugas progress, the pollution of thoughts, pollution of vidya, everything begins to go higher and higher. Kali begins to set in, and the Shiva Tattva, that is Sri Rama, and Arjuna, who is the Bhairava Tattva, because he is human. He is God born, God himself taking birth. Arjuna is a human who attains a state of godliness. That is Bhairava Tattva. I'm not saying Arjuna is a Bhairava. He attains a state of Bhairava. Sri Rama, Shiva Tattva. Arjuna, Bhairava Tattva. Because he does the sadhana of Mahadeva in a human body, ultimately attains the state of being one with Bhairava. And Swarnakarshana Bhairava has a name called Narayan Bhairava. Why? Who was the guru to Arjuna? Sri Krishna. Arjuna was born as a human being with a good astrological chart. Extremely sincere. Now let us go deeper into Arjuna's story itself. Arjuna absolutely celebrated his skills. If he was born as an archer, he decided that he would be the greatest archer of all times. No sleep, nothing. Full time thinking, dreaming of being the greatest archer ever. This was his goal. So if you are a banker, if you are an IT professional, or if you are a dancer, if you are a singer, every pore of Arjuna, the Arjuna, was involved in honing his skills. which is what I told you in my previous videos, that you need to embody greatness and attain and tell yourself that whatever it is that you decided is your field of expertise, you will go to the highest in that. So 24/7, celebrating his path was something Arjuna specialized in. Even when the enemies are sleeping, even his competitors are sleeping, even when his guru is sleeping, he was practicing. So on one side he holds the sadhana of Mahadeva, on the other side he holds Sri Krishna as the guru, and then he is continuously honing his skills, which is nothing but celebrating his body, becoming better and better and better and better and better at what he was. 11 years in his vanavasa, Arjuna had done nothing but the sadhana of Mahadeva. Whether they are in the forest or whether they are in the palace, wherever it is, he would never miss his abhisheka to the lingam. He was a great Shiva Bhakta, and that is why he attained Sri Krishna as the Guru. He was chosen for it. Now, the greatest secret to Arjuna's story comes towards the end of his vanavasa. So we are all aware of the last 1 year of vanavasa, where they were supposed to go into complete disguise. So Yudhishthira goes into the king's palace as an administrator. Bhima goes into the whatever they like the best. They chose what. There's a meaning here. Listen carefully. What Yudhishthira, the physical being, the physical man, wanted to do in his life, he chose something that would place him in the similar setup. So he wanted to be the king ultimately. So he went into the king's admin, became the admin in the king's palace. Bhima was very much, we all know he's a foodie. He goes into the kitchen. So celebrating their own physical being. So the last 1 year, the other Pandavas sort of took it easy. Whatever they enjoyed the most, they pulled it up and they full-fledged jumped into it and enjoyed the last 1 year of disguise in that way. Actually, is it not enjoying? In the king's palace, you'll get good food. Bhima was very much, even though it was vanavasa, the 11th year, they actually failed to make the 12th year difficult. They actually made it easy for themselves. They followed what they could easily do, and they enjoyed doing it while being hidden, completing their conditions of exile. However, what have they done? They made it easy for themselves. But what did Arjuna do? Here, the Devaloka placed the curse and all that we talk about, but here there is a great secret. 11 years of embodying Mahadeva within. Arjuna is at the highest state on earth. In that yuga, Arjuna embodies the highest state of Bhairava Tattva itself. He embodies the highest state of the Shiva Tattva that one can retain within. A human birth can retain. He has already attained at the 11th year of his exile. However, we all know what is Shiva Tattva without Shakti? Nothing. So what was Arjuna's exile? BRIHANALA. Arjuna exiles himself and lives, breathes, walks, dresses, combs his hair, places flowers on his hair, wears a pallu, ensures that he is drawing his, putting the kajal, puts a bindi, becomes a dance teacher. That last 1 year, he dedicates it with or without his knowledge. But what he actually does is Shakti Sadhana. The first rule of Shakti Sadhana is that you respect every woman. You realize what a woman is. You understand her fears, pains, and how her body functions. You remove lust towards a woman. You do not just look at woman as a piece of an enjoyment. It's the most animalistic thing. If you have engaged with animals, you'll understand they only look at the other opposite sex as purely for pleasure, and they just forget it and move on once they're satisfied. But in Shakti Sadhana, the woman is goddess. And Arjuna, for a full year, lives, breathes, embodies Shakti within. He dances, he watches women, how they dress, how they comb their hair, how they tie their hair behind, and how painful it would be for a woman to go through the cycle. Everything he observes, because he lives in the woman's quarters as a woman. What is the first rule of Shakti Sadhana? Every woman is divine. Women should never be hurt, never be an enemy to a woman. You see a woman being irrational to you also in the Shakti Sadhana. bow and walk out. Bhima didn't have this. Yudhishthira didn't have this. Sakula, Sahadeva, all they did what they liked the best in while satisfying the conditions of the exile. What did Arjuna do? He completely broke down and he went into that path which you can equate as the most difficult. He became a Shakti Sadhaka. Sri Rama didn't need it. Ma Sita was with him. The Yuga has collapsed. Kali Yuga is at the doorstep. He's knocking. Shiva Tattva is leaving the manifestation. Shiva Tattva is supposed to go. That is the design of Kali Yuga coming up. And Arjuna, towards the last phase of his exile, lives, breathes and becomes a woman. That is Shakti Sadhana. 11 years of Mahadeva and 1 year of Shakti in order to use whatever Shakti he had attained. So you would say that how do I say all this? What is the proof for this? That once his body had reached the complete peak, he is in the exile, living and breathing and walking around as a woman, dance teacher. Imagine for a minute what kind of life he would have lived and to what extent he would have understood woman. The woman, it is very difficult to understand women. For men who say that mard, if you say this, you will never attain Shakti. Every woman is seen as divine in Shakti Sadhana, and not just that. In Shakti Sadhana, if you have a great guru, he will tell you, pretend and tell yourself that you are a woman at times. This is not told openly. I'm telling you this openly. In the Shakti path, a man pretends and tells himself multiple times, I am a woman, come within me. This is said, and this is not seen as an insult or to himself. There is nothing that your male ego should break down in. You should embody woman. She comes like that. So after so I'll tell you something about my own story now. After I reached the 11th year, so I left home at 24. I have not lived with my parents and all. Life has been extremely painful. Went through all that. Now, the 11th year began, I think this year around Jan-Feb. I stopped cutting my hair. I started combing my hair. My hair is it's longer. Began to embody womanhood. I started talking to more and more women. To such an extent that women started talking to me more about themselves than what they would talk to a man. Women began to feel like they're talking to another woman. This is embodiment of Shakti. This you will find happening within you. And let me tell you, being a woman is not easy. It is very difficult. Now I have long hair now. I have not cut my hair for almost 10 months, but it's abnormally long. I've tied it. It is very difficult to even tie hair. You know, when a woman worries about hair fall and all that, you know, when she wakes up from the bed, there is hair on the bed, she worries about hair fall and all. I began to realize what it feels like. I began to read how to take care of hair, how to tie hair. It is difficult. In the night time, if a woman doesn't properly tie her hair or take care of it, it will break off while sleeping. Has a man ever worried about all this? You need to live, breathe and embody woman. When BRIHANALA walks, finally when the king's cattle are stolen by the Kauravas, we all tend to glorify Arjuna. Arjuna is the greatest warrior. Arjuna was the greatest warrior. But didn't you think when the king's cattle were stolen by Kauravas and Uttar, the young prince, at the behest of Draupadi, Uttar takes BRIHANALA as the charioteer, and Uttar is like shivering as he sees the Kaurava army who have stolen the cattle. Here there are many deep secrets in the story. Listen carefully. The cattle have been stolen by Kauravas. Uttar, the young prince, is afraid to face the army. But the Pandavas have now finished their 12 years in exile, and Arjuna's last year was as what? As BRIHANALA. He was living and breathing as a woman. He tells Uttar, take me to this tree. I will take you to this tree. And on top of that, he shows a bag tied on top of the tree. So Uttar is like, it looks like a dead body. Why are you asking me to remove that bag? He says, go up and fetch me that bag. Uttar the prince, though he is full of fear, he doesn't know why he is following the words of Brihanala, who is merely a charioteer at that point. It is Draupadi who had asked Uttar to take Brihanala, and he fetches that big bag and drops it on the floor, and when they open it, inside lies the entire weaponry of Pandavas. So Arjuna then picks up the Gandhiv and he twangs it without arrow, he just twangs it. The sound is so monstrous that when the Kauravas hear this, they start to tremble, because everybody recognizes that the Gandhiv has been twanged after 12 years. Now, for a minute, think, who twanged the Gandhiv? Was it Arjuna or Brihanala? It was not Arjuna, it was Brihanala who twanged the Gandhiv. So, after 12 years of exile, when Arjuna broke the exile for the first time after completion, when Arjuna stepped into the battleground, was it Arjuna? It was Brihanala, wearing a sari, with hair long, pleated, wearing flowers, with a pallu, wearing a blouse, wearing a sari. It was Brihanala who stepped into the battle. It was Shakti who gave him the right to now embody his birth design itself. You are all amshas of Shiva, but you need to understand that without Shakti you are a zero. This is what you need to understand. And you all want to be like Arjuna, but if you want to be like Arjuna, Brihanala is a 100% state that you have to attain. You have to live, breathe, and bring the femininity within you. Bhima was never complete. Yudhishthira was never complete. Nakula was never complete. Sahadeva was never complete. It was Arjuna. Arjuna, the golden boy of Sri Krishna, was complete. And when did he get the right to come out of his exile? To protect cows, to protect cattle. Again, Gau Seva. I'm not able to grasp the hidden meanings here. 11 years of sadhana in Shiva, to Shiva, and 1 year as living, breathing, and living as a woman, because in the woman lies Shakti. So if you are a man, either you can say, entire life I will be mard ko dard nahi hoga and I will walk around, or you can understand you need to embody Shakti. So for the last many months, I do not fight like a man. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I am a super heavyweight boxer. I stopped boxing when at 31 I stopped boxing. Gym and all that I have like a room full of weights, weight training and all. I've hidden all those albums because I no longer associate with all that. So and from that, going to a state where I stopped fighting. Arguments. If I fight like a woman now. For the last 6-7 months, I fight like a woman only. I am not physical. I am calmer. My entire mindset has changed. The esoteric meaning of life itself that she began to dump into my head has changed. So for a man to be and embody Arjuna, you need Shakti Sadhana. And to embody and live in Shakti Sadhana, right from a female dog to a female cow to a female human, you need to respect. Sometimes when I'm going in my car, and some ladies might not drive properly, and they will just so come and put brake in front of me, and I will have to horn and all. At that moment, I will immediately apologize to Mahadeva. That much you need to respect woman. And how do you respect woman? You need to disassociate from the physicality of it and see the Shakti within every woman. That is why Arjuna sat there. He watched women take care of themselves. He watched women put makeup. He watched women brush their hair. He watched women as they gossiped. He watched and sat and sang with them. He danced with them. He became the dance master. Everybody likes to call Arjuna the man. Did you think it was not Arjuna who stepped into the battlefield? The battlefield was stepped into by Brihanala. Gandhiv was given back to Arjuna when he took the form of the woman. It was not the weaponry that was removed by Uttar from Uttar the prince from the treetop was not just Arjuna's. Entire Pandava's weaponry was given in the hands of Brihanala. Shakti. Embody Shakti within you. I've even spoken to gurus who do not know the secret. You can be thousands of years in the path of Shiva, but Arjuna could not have twanged the Gandhiv again without 1 year of Brihanala. And that is why Arjuna was so special. He was beautifully guided by Sri Krishna into this. So beautifully. Other Pandavas, they very beautifully, they were able to go and follow whatever they wanted to follow. You like to eat? Go sit in the king's kitchen. What could have been a better life for Bhima? What could have been a better life for Yudhishthira? They were all doing what they loved to do. Arjuna broke out of it in the excuse of a curse. He truly embodied Shakti. He became Shakti. Complete embodiment of Shakti. So as a man, there will be moments where you need to completely learn and understand women. You need to celebrate the need for arts within you. Everything artistic, everything creative is Shakti. You need to watch women without the eyes of lust. You need to watch women like Mahadeva watched Ma Parvati. Spiritual union with the state of womanhood needs to be attained. Otherwise, yes, you can be Bhima. Bhima is well known to be the greatest and most powerful. However, Arjuna is different. Arjuna embodied Shakti. So that first 11 years, you can call him, when Swarnakarshana Bhairava is called Narayan Bhairava. Why is Swarnakarshana Bhairava called Narayan Bhairava? Because Arjuna embodied the Bhairava Tattva, because Shiva Tattva is gone. Shiva Tattva will not stay at that level of adharma, because if Shiva Tattva has to stay at that level of adharma, he will destroy. So going forward, you can never fully attain Shiva Tattva in physical body. You can only attain the Bhairava Tattva. Narayan Bhairava, Swarnakarshana Bhairava. So by now many of you would have started to correlate Sri Krishna, Narayan Bhairava, Arjuna embodying the highest state of glory. He was the king, he was the warrior, he was the dancer, he was the queen's handmaid, he was a charioteer. He was also a charioteer. And when did he come out of his exile? To save the cows. When was he given his weapons back? After he spent a year in Shakti Sadhana, embodying Shakti itself, dance, music, wearing flowers on this one. So I was one day sitting and meditating, Mom, I've come to this state where I know either fight back. I have so much of strength. I'm a super heavyweight boxer. I don't fight. I'm so calm now. Even my fighting style is like feminine now. I've been living like this for how long now? From January this year. As I go into the last few months of my 12-year period, I hope you don't expect me to place a flower on also and walk around, Ma, because I work in an institution, a corporate. That will look very weird. What will I do, Ma? I was thinking, and you won't believe, for so many days, I started to realize there will always be a flower on top of my head, and I have not even placed it. So only when combing my hair after coming home, I'll realize there's a flower. One of her jasmine flowers will be on top of my head. So she has always placed it, but nobody in my office could see it. I was wearing flower without my own knowledge. She gave so many affirmations to this theory that to be Arjuna, the last 1 year, hey man, you will have to embody femininity. In January, I joined a different corporate. And after joining that corporate, I saw some HR notices from there, and they were like left and right. This corporate was going over the board with so much of like LGBTQ plus welcome, LGBTQ plus this, that, we welcome you. Like this corporate is full-fledged into LGBTQ plus rights and like grandifying them, glorifying them. So I was just, my mind, this last year I've come here and my intention to embody, to become Arjuna. You need to become BRIHANALA, and that is when she gives the KamDev back. Only then you will get the KamDev back. And I'm sitting here, and this corporate that I've joined for the last year is also full of the same direction. When Arjuna finally enters into the battlefield, he just decimates, and his power is not like what he was before the Vanavasa. Before the Vanavasa, the young handsome prince that Arjuna was not the Arjuna that went back into the battlefield to get the cattle back for Prince Uttar. He decimates everybody. He gets surrounded by the Kauravas. Duryodhan once said, Bhishma once said, Dronacharya once said. When he enters, he shoots an arrow and drops right at the feet of Drona, and Dronacharya says, this is how he respects his guru. And he's full of praises for Arjuna. So dharma, whatever happens, you cannot let go of dharma. As he enters, he also salutes Bhishma, however, it is not reciprocated. And then he gets into a war with Bhishma. Bhishma faints. Duryodhan's entire armor, chariot, everything is destroyed. He is so fast. He was not the Arjuna who was there before the 12 years of vanvasa, and then the last 1 year alone, the entire 12 years worth of sadhana is given to him. So this is the secret. If you are in the path of sadhana, 11 years for any deity, hopefully Bhairava, the last 1 year, Shakti. So the entire tenure of the 11 years, have Shakti in your hand always. Always keep calling out to her. Okay? And the last 1 year, completely fall at her. Completely embody her. Because without BRIHANALA, Arjuna will never even get his KamDev back. Keep this in your mind. You need to embody BRIHANALA. So I have noted down the name of a dancer. So Dr. Janaki Rangarajan. So if you have time, you probably you can go and look at her Instagram profile. There is a specific dance move that she has made that I have been so much I've been admiring her. I would, in case she sees this video, I apologize for not remembering her name. During this video, I should have remembered your name. However, in case she watches this video, there is a dance move that she has uploaded as the swan walk. Please go to Instagram and watch this dance move. Imagine Arjuna doing that move. That move has I cannot even tell you, I cannot even describe that move. It's a dance move that has a specific finger movement which very much mimics that of the archer's bow, and the way she has twisted her body to mimic the swan dance. Our traditional dances are no less than war forms. No wonder Arjuna, the greatest warrior, spent a year as a dancer in the king's court, teaching the princesses, dressing up with them, dressing as a woman, choosing out matching outfits. Celebrate the womanhood within you, or else you'll have another life to be a woman. Because Shakti cannot be taken in the same way as Mahadeva. Mahadeva forgives everything, and he still allows you. As long as you're extremely strict and trying your best, he will still forgive you. But Shakti is not like that. She will say, completely become me. You become me to embody me, and I will give you everything. That is the message of Arjuna. So I think we are done for today. Let's to summarize. A physical union that tantrics always talk about is just for you to get into the door of spirituality. You need to conquer physical union and then realize that Parvati was never about physically uniting with Mahadeva. Physically, Mahavishnu was always most handsome, most beautiful, most grand, most extraordinary. Mahadeva and Parvati is about divine union. Number one. Number two, Kamadeva's physical body collapsing and him becoming a spiritual formless entity shows that even to Kama, Mahadeva gives the lesson that your thirst for this physical love and all that is not right. I will give you the path. And what is the path? Spiritual. Become spiritual. Spiritual unity. That is the message that he gave to Kamadeva, and that is why the Vajra is perfectly balanced. Within you itself, you have to balance the male and the female. 11 years of walking in the path of Mahadeva, 1 year in the path of Shakti. Imagine, because in that 1 year, she will completely take up that Mahadeva, the Bhairava Tattva that you built up and make you the Arjuna of Kali Yuga. Celebrate your body, hone your skills. Along with sadhana, remember that you have come here with a physical body. Do not sit and pretend to be a monk in the remote corner of your house. Get out and hone your skills. Practice your archery. Practice your archery. And then comes the most important phase of Arjuna's life that nobody talks about. So to me, if you ask who is the most important character in Ramayana, it is Ma Sita. Above Rama. She is the architect of Ramayana. She sat and ensured Lakshmana is sent out and gets herself taken away by an asura. It would have taken her a second to destroy Ravana. A second. It would not have taken as much time as it took for Rama. She did not allow Hanumanji to rescue her from the Lanka, saying that you are a bhakta of Sri Rama. However, Rama is a bhakta of me. Let Rama have the glory of rescuing me. Beautifully sends him away. After she is rescued and taken back, she ensures that she goes to Valmiki's ashrama by placing that thought in Rama's mind multiple times, by asking him about Rama, about Valmiki, and ensures she is sent there. And the day she lands there, Brahma, Narada, everybody lands there and gives the Adesha to Valmiki to write Ramayana. So the entire architect of Ramayana is Ma Sita, which is the name of Ma Adhya, Adhya Kali. Go through the Sahasranamavali. We have already written about this. Arjuna, the most celebrated warrior, nobody realizes that it was not Arjuna who came back from the Vanavasa, it was BRIHANALA who had the Gandhiv and who shot the arrow. So it is the divine feminine, it is Kali Yuga. Realize that without Shakti, even Shiva doesn't move. Thousands of years of Shiva Sadhana, one life of Shakti Sadhana, you get to use the entire benefit of that 1,000-year sadhana. How many years you put into Mahadeva? However, if you do not do that BRIHANALA state, the Shakti Sadhana, you don't get to use that. Because he is unmoving. Mahadeva is unmoving. It is Shakti who moves him. When all the Kauravas together surround BRIHANALA, like this, they faint. That is the speed at which Arjuna attacks them. Arjuna who went into Vanavasa and Arjuna who came out of Vanavasa after a year as BRIHANALA was not the same. He embodied Shakti. And why did he come back? What gave him the Adhikara? Again, the kidnapped cow. Let's go back to the kidnapped cows now. Parashurama. Why did Parashurama in the Kshatriya race? Kidnapped cow. Why did Arjuna come back from Vanavasa as BRIHANALA? Kidnapped cow. Who was always with Sri Krishna? Gopal. He was a Gopala. His main intention of the avatara was to take care of his cows. The answer to Kali Yuga is take care of the cows. Feed them, bathe them, take care of them. And it is very difficult being a woman, let me tell you that. After I started noticing that it was so difficult to tie my hair, I'd be so frustrated, like in the mornings. I get everything done and I'm just about to get out and I get into my car and drive. My hair will look like this. I'm like, this is really difficult. And it is so difficult to comb, it will break. Hair will break off. It would take 10 minutes for me to actually look like this. It is nothing special I look. But it takes time. I, who was a boxer with a military cut, there are videos of it, of me in the boxing ring. To going and worrying about the hair breaking off, to tie it, to take care of the hair, how much time it takes to comb. I told Amma, flower I don't know how I'll keep. She kept the flower. For many days I found flower in my head. It was extraordinary. And incidentally, I was just talking, just yesterday I just met somebody from a very royal family and she is one of the international shooters. She's an international champion, multiple time national champion in shooting. So with this video running in the background of my mind, I asked her, do you practice archery? And she said that, she gave me a beautiful answer. Listen to this carefully. She said that archery, yes, archery is also very important and people are practicing archery and all. However, she said that as a woman, she noticed that the same level of accuracy and aim and all is required, focus is required for shooting an archery. However, when she, to draw the sword back, and release it, she always felt a lot of shoulder strength was required. So the strength to draw and shoot the arrow, it comes from that masculine musculature that men have. It makes it easy for them. However, to actually finally shoot it in the battleground, Arjuna itself had to become a woman. This is what it is. And Sri Krishna always told you, you will be the greatest sadhaka of Mahadeva, you will be Bhima, you will be Yudhishthira, you will be great. You will always be great. You will be known for eons together. But Arjuna attained the state of a god. He was a Deva. He embodied Bhairava in totality. He was the Nayaka. And he got to see the Vishwarupam of Mahavishnu. So I've given you the path now. How to be the Nayaka of the Samsara, Swarnakarshana Bhairava. And who? Only form that you require to go behind is Mahadeva. Whose other forms are every other female deity that you know about is merely her. Because she is the Shiva and Shakti. She is Adi Shakti itself. You need to understand why mard ko dard nahi hota kind of a mindset will be a hurdle when you finally have to pretend and be a woman to attain her, the one who is standing behind me. Only after that state, then you come back bursting into the battleground of life, you will be Arjuna who's come back from Vanvasa. Every answer is there. It is only by the grace of Shakti that you will know these secrets. This video will not be watched by everybody, even in my own channel. Look at the views, it will not be very high. Bhairava Kalike, Namostute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Jai Mahakali. Jai Mahadeva.